For me, the whole equipment side, I don't know what it is, but I love it. I've loved it from the first day. I've always taken good care of my equipment. It's part of the story. My name is Franz-Albrecht Oettingen-Spielberg, and come and join me for the management and hunt of my favorite 5 game species. We know a selective 4 or 5-year-old buck here. He's relatively low antlered, and he has no front tines. Quite nice cornets, but he's below average. So let's try and see if we can find him. The female in the back, so the closest one to us, has a green ear tag on her left side. That means she was born in 2019, so she's 6 years old. I can't see if it's blue or green. If it's blue, she's 2 years old. If it's green, she's 6. I think it's blue. She's 2. Makes sense. She's 2. And the female in front of her is her mother from last year. And when she's gonna give birth to her new fawns this year, she will chase the younger one away. Just waiting for the buck to turn. We're about 200 meters away. Our wind isn't ideal, so we can't move from here. He just needs to turn a little bit. The buck and the 2 females, they bedded down in front of us. Our wind wasn't great anyway. The position that he was in was, for me, too far quartering away. And at the same time, it was a very flat shot with the horizon in the background. So from a safety perspective, it was also, for me, it was too dangerous to take a shot. I was hoping that maybe they would move further to our direction, but they didn't, and they finally caught wind, and then they were off. We're gonna try and do another stalk now. I've always loved the longevity, so having equipment that then evolves a patina from use, that shows the use, that shows the experiences that you've had with that particular piece of equipment. So for me, either a gun or a jacket or pants or whatever, it's not a means to an end, it's part of the story. And of course, coming from a forestry side, I can't shoot with a plastic stock. I have to use wood because I'm in love with our forest, and I'm in love with timber cutting, and I'm in love with aesthetics, and therefore I love a nice stock. Of course, that costs money. Of course, it's not as good as a carbon stock in many ways. It's not as good as a plastic stock, but every little bump I have in that piece of wood, maybe not every single one, but there's a few that I will always remember where I was in that moment. There's one, for example, when I was snowed in for a couple of days in a little hut in the Austrian Alps, and my rifle dropped, and there's a particular cut that made in the wood, and I remember, like, every time I look at that, it puts me back into that situation. And I have the same with different hunting jackets that I've had for the last 20 years. I will never throw anything away, which is a nightmare.
And it was also too flat over the horizon. But this time it worked out perfectly. They came exactly where we thought that they were going to come. The two females are still there. And I like to wait, once I've shot an animal, for the rest that hasn't understood what's going on to move away quietly, instead of walking in and scaring them off. That firstly keeps them more calm, and at the same time they don't fear humans as much, and keeps them calm for the future as well. But it's less stress for them. They don't really know what's going on. It was relatively windy. It was a suppressed shot, so they don't really have any idea. So it's better just to wait 15-20 minutes until they've calmed down, and then slowly move there once they've moved away. Even though my rifle is suppressed and it has a very low kick, because the 6x62 Frere with an 87 grain bullet really doesn't kick a lot, I still like to put something in my left ear. I don't know why, but it calms me down and it makes me squeeze the shot off more carefully. And if I don't, I think there's some kind of instinctive reflex, because I've had so much damage to my left ear from previous years, that I start flinching slightly if I don't cover my left ear. So if I have the time, I prefer doing it.
I think leather is such an amazing material. And for example, these pants are made from stag leather. This is made from roe deer leather. I mean, I am in the hunting world and I love my stocks to be in wood, and I think wearing a pair of pants that is a raw material that comes from something that I live with, it makes me feel complete. And a good pair of leather pants, hunting leather pants, or a hunting chalet like this, it will last you a lifetime. The longevity of these products, if they are high quality products, will last you a lifetime. And to be able to, this is a relatively new vest, but once they've evolved in patina, to me it's just different to be able to use a product like that than to have a synthetic one all the time. Of course, I understand the need for synthetic products at some point. I would prefer not to be in pouring rain with a leather jacket or leather pants, and then of course something else needs to come in. But my signature products that I have over my whole lifetime, yeah, it's almost like I build a relationship with them. That sounds corny, but it's something like that. Also with the rifles. I mean, the engravings in the rifles, all that artisan handcraft that goes into it, it fascinates me.
Another fantastic management buck. As you can see, he's missing front tine on his left. He's short. He's 4 to 5 years old. His teeth are very nicely worn down, and exactly the type of buck that we want to take out in May, because I prefer if he didn't have a chance to reproduce again this year. So what our general strategy is, the good bucks and the big bucks that are old enough that we want to take, we try and take in the rut, so they have a chance to better the population by breeding 1 more year. And the management bucks like this one, we try to take out early, so they lose a year of breeding. This one could have probably been taken out last year, but I guess we gave him another chance just to see what he does. But he also, body-wise, he's not what we are looking for, and he's, compared to the regional quality that we know is here, he's below average, body-wise and trophy-wise. And I think it's very important to judge roe deer on their regional
trophy size. You cannot compare these roe deers to the best of the roe deers in Sweden or Romania or Hungary or Spain. This is just a different, it's the same species, but they have a different habitat, and there's different horn and body growth here. So they were probably 5 to 6 kilos lighter on average than the Spanish bucks. Therefore, they also have smaller heads and smaller trophies. For me, I enjoy it just as much to manage these deer than others. And for me, it's important to raise the level or the average genetic level of the particular area that I'm in. And this particular one is one to take out. Let's try and have another look at the teeth to see how old he really is. So as you can see, the M1, which is called the molar 1, that's what the tooth, the oldest tooth in a roe deer's bottom jaw is called. They are usually worn down the most, and when you see that they're not pointy at all and they're beginning to flatten out in the middle and lose their structure, that's when we usually say they're 5. This particular one is exactly at that point, and because it's in the field area, they rub down less. Therefore, we believe definitely 4, could be 5. On his right ear, this is what sometimes happens. You can see here there's a little round, it's round here in this cut. He used to have an ear tag. Obviously, we don't know what tag that was. Sometimes they get ripped out, whatever, when they're fighting or whatever. So we don't know exactly from what year he is, but he was tagged at one point.
The management that we do is impossible without a highly dedicated team. And I'm happy to say that I feel it's rare to find a team as dedicated, as intelligent, as understanding for what we're trying to do, and without looking at their watch in terms of hours that they spend in the hunting area.
We've had a few inquiries about why I carry these relatively large and heavy binoculars, and the reason is they are 20 times magnification by 60. So what does that give me? 20 times magnification is almost like a spotting scope, and I have that in my binoculars. You would say that that would be difficult without a tripod to keep it steady, and it is, but it has a button here which stabilizes the view. So if I put up my binoculars and then I press this button, there's a mechanical system inside which keeps my field of view absolutely steady. Now, this technology, I think, comes from the 1980s and was used for maritime, so boats and maybe military. I'm not 100% sure. These are still made today. They come at a ridiculous price. So I bought mine 20 years ago at a half decent price. Nowadays they really are very, very expensive. With this, up to 200 meters, I can judge any trophy, any animal. I can see almost any detail that I need to see to make a quick decision. And it's just by putting up my binoculars, pressing this button, and I can see everything. From 200 meters onwards, I can always use a spotting scope, because usually I'm that far away that the possibility of that animal seeing me or catching wind is much less than if they were within 200 meters. So I've had these and I take them everywhere. Now, putting them on a normal shoulder band does put quite a bit of weight on the back of my neck. So what I use is, I bought this harness which comes on the back of my shoulders. So the weight gets spread out on both sides. And then what I also do to take even more weight away is, I'm just going to show that, I usually wear a hunting belt. Now, depending on what type of hunt I'm on, this belt changes, and I collect these belts. So I love artisan leather. These also have canvas mixed within. And then, depending on what type of hunt I'm doing, I usually carry a Swiss knife. And right now I'm not carrying much. I have my rangefinder down here, and I have some extra bullets. But the other reason I carry this belt is I rest the weight of the binoculars on the belt buckle. So if I do that, this really becomes a piece of equipment that is easy to carry, and I don't need to pack my spotting scope usually. That's really what it's about, and I would be so excited, and I have approached a couple of companies to make this type of binocular with the same sort of magnification or even higher in a modern way. And I have some really interesting ideas. So if anyone's out there that would be interested to do that, please contact me, because I'm dreaming about these in a modern era.
If it's not something that I can help with, just to fill my curiosity about the process of what a product like that goes through, and the amount of thought that's gone into it, yeah, for me it's part of the whole experience. I really love my equipment, and I love to be able to choose what type of equipment I take where. It's more or less always the same setup, but it changes. I have a belt collection, I have all these different types of things, and yeah, it's a passion. It's a passion of mine. That's all I can say.